Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to an economic weather report brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand, where today we look at the Reserve Bank of New Zealand's data on credit growth in August from July. These numbers are interesting because they tell us what's happening in the banking sector in various parts of the economy, whether people are borrowing, what's happening with their spending, and what's happening with businesses. When we look at business credit, and you can see this chart here showing growth rates from a year ago, you're starting to see a tiny pickup. It's a bit of a flicker of life in the business lending. Remember, we're down more than $5 billion in business lending from a year ago, but up $127 million in August, which is relatively unusual. It's been very weak for the last couple of years. Meanwhile, housing loans still relatively weak, but up $230 million in August. And housing itself is up $4.6 billion from a year ago. However, some more recent figures showing approvals in the week to September 24 show that housing approvals remain down around about a quarter, 26.6%, from a year ago. So the housing market isn't really picking up. Consumer lending, that's down $25 million in August from September. And you can see here that it's been down for most of the last year and a half or so. New Zealanders are looking to repay debt and they're not keen to do consumer borrowing, i.e. credit cards, hire purchase, that sort of thing. But it's surprising really, ahead of the increase in GST, that people aren't using their credit cards and hire purchase to go out on a bit of a spending spree. In fact, consumer lending was down $25 million in August. The other area we look at is agricultural lending, and you can see here the growth, which was over 20% year on year a couple of years ago, is down now to 1.9% in August from a year ago. That's a record low level of agricultural lending growth in New Zealand. Overall, the picture remains of subdued lending growth in the New Zealand economy, with some flicker of life in the business lending area, some slight growth in household lending, an actual drop in lending in consumer lending, and some marginal growth in agricultural lending. But overall, the New Zealand economy remains very subdued and weak, and you can see that in the credit figures. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was a special economic weather report brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand.